The traditional concept of death in the East has always been a taboo. But in recent years, more people favor advanced end-of-life planning. Such planning eases family distress and fulfills final wishes. The advanced decision on life-sustaining treatment ordinance will take effect this July 31st. As life draws to a close, medical care is vital, but more personal wishes deserve to be observed.
Traditional Oriental belief holds that planning for death while one is alive invites misfortune.
One stove. One table. One person. Despite being alone, Uncle Cam crafts a colorful life. 78-year-old Uncle Cam lives by himself. For people of his age, death is an unavoidable topic. Yet, while still in good health, Uncle Cam made the decision to sign the Advanced Medical Directive, or AMD. This document gives him full control over his final hours. Prepared while he is mentally sound, it clearly records his refusal of life-sustaining treatment. Should an irreversible condition leave him unable to communicate, his written wishes will take over.
I want to be the master of my own life, not controlled by others. That is why I found this document so helpful, and I signed it.
AMD has been promoted in Hong Kong for years, but for most elderly residents, it remains a novel concept.
As early as 2008, the Law Reform Commission proposed the AMD. And the public healthcare system soon followed suit. Yet, integrating it into routine medical practice has long been difficult.
In 2023, just a year after signing the AMD, Uncle Cam suffered a stroke.
The doctor told me I wouldn't recover and had to move into a nursing home. I said no, and I applied to move out of the hospital.
After days of practice, he progressed from being unable to stand or speak to walking and talking naturally. Now, Uncle Cam volunteers at stroke support organizations, using his story to inspire others.
I mainly help plan events to encourage stroke survivors to socialize. Many lose heart after an accident and stay cooped up at home. I try my best to get them into community activities. Others helped me before, so I want to do my part to pass that kindness on.
Meanwhile, he actively promotes the concept of advanced medical directives among elderly residents and caregivers in the community. But making this final decision about the end of one's life is no easy task.
I tell people that an AMD reduces suffering at the end of life and doesn't disrupt your routine. But they always say, maybe later, avoiding the topic.
Even when elderly residents accept the idea, it is difficult for their families to face the reality of a loved one choosing to forego life-sustaining treatment in advance.
They'll say, we are here to look after you. Don't think about these things. Am I unfilial? So, a new conflict arises.
Dr. Fan, a former surgeon who once served in Doctors Without Borders in Gaza, founded a life education NGO. He invites elderly residents who have executed the AMD, including Uncle Cam, to share their experiences.
In irreversible cases like organ failure or terminal cancer, families always urge doctors to try everything. Saving lives is my duty as a doctor. But in some situations, even invasive treatments cannot change the fact that the patient is going to pass away.
In 2024, the government officially enacted the Advanced Decision on Life-Sustaining Treatment Ordinance, providing legal protection for patients, healthcare professionals, and rescuers. Aimed at granting end-stage patients greater autonomy, the ordinance will take full effect on July 31st.
I believe the ordinance protects healthcare workers, patients, and families alike, while encouraging more medical professionals to understand and get involved. I remain optimistic. There will be a snowball effect, prompting more and more people to join in.
Yet, Dr. Fan says implementation remains challenging. Medical teams need time to adapt to new workflows, and the line between legal liability and clinical judgment must be clearly defined. More importantly, patients must understand the core value of AMD. It is not about abandoning medical care, but choosing an end-of-life path that aligns with one's own values.
Population aging is not unique to Hong Kong, but Hong Kongers live longer because of the excellent healthcare system. Still, we must not let longevity numb us. We need to ensure quality of life while enjoying our golden years. If you ever reach the end stage, what's your plan?
I've already made up my mind. That's why I signed the AMD. If it comes to that, I request no invasive treatments. Being hooked up to all those machines, looking like a monster. There's no dignity.
In fact, as life draws to a close, there is much more to consider beyond medical care. This is the core of the advanced care planning, which encourages individuals to arrange things, including financial distribution, funeral formats, or final wishes in advance.
Maybe going for dim sum, or seeing the grandchildren. Creating that final sparkle in life with family. These may seem trivial, but when time is limited, truly fulfilling the person's wishes can prevent so many regrets.
On this day, Viking gathered a group of young people for a board game, moving from birth to death across the life map.
識到一班好朋友喎，咁啊要有心心啦。
7 years ago, Viking's wife passed away, which drove him to turn his full attention to advanced care planning.
Before she passed away, we had discussed self-determination, like euthanasia. But sadly, none of it could be realized for her.
照顧親人臨終，哇！呢個擔子好重喎。
With his wife leaving him in just a few short days, the only thing Viking could do was continue to care for her elderly mother. He admits his deepest regret is not having enough time to fulfill more of her final wishes.
Back then, we had no awareness of this, nor did we think it would happen so fast. I thought I could take care of her for the rest of my life.
To stay alive or live our life, that's the question. This was the final lesson his wife left behind. Carrying her spirit forward, Viking dedicated himself to end-of-life care, helping elderly residents or patients fulfill their final wishes.
1、2、3、4、5、6，大家可唔可以想像到最後一次圓夢之旅會做啲咩呢？
I spent 6 months with a recent case. His dying wish was to reunite with families in the mainland. We planned the itinerary and even helped him get his mainland travel permit. That really means a lot to him.
A final wish does not have to be a grand gesture. To the elderly, it could be as simple as a single meal.
Eating is just part of our daily routine. Some motivational chicken soup for the soul talks about living in the moment. But seeing these elderly residents eat, that is true living in the moment. It is their happiest time.
又到終點啦！每個人最終都會行呢個棋盤。
Everyone will eventually reach the end of this life map. Will we depart with deep regrets?
抑或係而家早啲諗？
Or will we plan early, voice our true wishes,
你哋嗰個諗法
take responsibility for ourselves, and grant our families peace of mind?
At the game's conclusion, as life nears its end on the map, each player selects a wish card, granting them the opportunity to fulfill one final desire.
I want to live a good life before death comes and depart with no regrets.
I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I love looking good, and to me, being in a wheelchair looks awful.
I hope my family and friends can be by my side when I pass away, because I love being around people.
I wish to donate my organs. When my time comes, I want to help those in need and contribute to society.
Everyone's final deadline in life is a different length. The remaining days might be years or perhaps just a few days.
The unique thing about Chinese culture is that we rarely express our needs. We bottle them up, hoping family will just intuitively understand. Even with the AMD legislated, I always tell people that the most important part is communicating with loved ones around you to avoid causing conflicts or regrets.
Among all the wish cards, Viking also picked one.
This might be the hardest to realize, but it is what I desire the most. To be able to stroll freely when my time comes. No specific location, just anywhere with sunshine. For the final moment of life, that's enough.
In the United States, a pound of tomatoes now sells for $3, or more than 20 Hong Kong dollars, 40% more expensive than last year. And if you only count cherry tomatoes, the price increases by 60% a month. Inflation in the U.S. hit a 3-year high in April. The market expects that not only will it not cut interest rates this year, but it may also have to raise it. What impact will it have on the business environment in Hong Kong? One siu mai wrapper, one tail of filling. With a few deft movements, the dim sum chef has wrapped a generously filled siu mai. The taste of their siu mai is somewhat different from what is usually eaten in restaurants, because the group director, Kai Chi, has special requirements for dim sum.
We don't want it to be shiny and chewy. We want it to be juicy, fluffy, and contain shiitake mushrooms, shrimp, and meat.
After the conflict between the U.S. and Iran broke out at the end of February, the Strait of Hormuz, the main oil transportation pipeline in the Middle East, was blocked, pushing up inflation in many countries. Said the cost of raw materials for the dim sum has risen by 3%.
If you buy 2 items together, we can add a snack and offer a discount, even if it's just $8. We earn $8 more. If the price increases significantly, business might drop, making it unprofitable. Instead, we can offer some items at a lower price to attract more customers, thereby increasing sales and offsetting the rise in operating costs.
The cost of dim sum ingredients has increased a little. His restaurants can still withstand it. Cost of lobster, Wagyu beef, and other ingredients from Australia and the United States have risen by 30% in recent months, making survival even harder. Believes that the restaurant business has been very difficult in recent years, and rising costs have made the business environment even more challenging.
How do you make money? Forget about making a lot of money. How do you even maintain operations? It's extremely difficult. A perfect example of adding insult to injury. I've been in the restaurant business for over 50 years, and I've never seen the catering industry this difficult. It's not just us struggling, the entire industry is struggling.
Mrs. Tang runs a school bus fleet. Despite the hotter weather, she reminds drivers to turn off the engine when in park.
Gasoline price is too high. I want you to stop enjoying the air conditioning when in park. But after all, we are human. Turn on the air conditioning 15 minutes before the children finish school, so it's not so hot inside.
The Consumer Council figures show gasoline prices rose by as much as 60% in the past 3 months. Mrs. Tang said with the higher fuel costs, turning on the air conditioner for 15 minutes means paying $100 more for fuel each day. However, since the school bus fares were set 3 years ago, she cannot just increase it now. Now she must suffer a loss every month.
I can't find a solution. Even if the driver and accompanying carer don't get a wage increase, I can't recover costs. If oil price is cheap, I go to school, take some orders, shuttling back and forth for school activities, and supplement my income to make ends meet. But there is no order now. We have a contract with the school. You can't ask for a surcharge halfway through.
The price hikes brought about by the surge in oil prices will gradually surface in the coming months. The market expects that the U.S. Federal Reserve and other central banks may raise interest rates this year, which is believed to further affect Hong Kong.
I was going to buy new vehicles. The news I heard these days shows that the chances of an interest rate hike are very high. With interest rates reduced, I would of course make a purchase. With higher interest, would I still buy? Of course not. It's very grim. It's so grim, many people will be eliminated. Let's see who can survive. After losing money this school year, let's see if I should shut down for good.
Raising interest rates is one of the means to suppress inflation. It can increase borrowing costs to reduce the desire to consume and invest. It can also attract deposits to reduce the circulation of money in the market. This is a two-pronged approach to suppress inflation.
The standard approach would be to either raise interest rates or maintain them, because we cannot allow inflation expectations to build up. When people have high inflation expectations, it leads to actual inflation, which in turn creates further high inflation expectations, making it impossible to suppress. Therefore, the current expectation is that interest rates will not be cut, at least in June. Some people think there might be a chance of a rate hike at the end of the year.
However, the global economy was already quite volatile, and the International Monetary Fund further lowered its global economic growth forecast for this year to 3.1%, 0.2 percentage points lower than before the conflict in the Middle East. Vera Young believes that the simultaneous occurrence of interest rate hikes and economic recession will have more pronounced side effects.
Freight and geopolitical issues actually increase costs for businesses and reduce their profits. Therefore, raising interest rates will make it more difficult for them to borrow money. Currently, they are facing business difficulties, but they also need to raise interest rates to combat inflation, putting them in a dilemma. Their cash flow problems impact business and the economy.
Edward Lam is the president of the Hong Kong SME Development Federation. Mr. Lam runs a men's clothing brand. He said SMEs have lower bargaining power, and interest rate hikes have a big impact on them.
This is adding insult to injury, rubbing salt into a wound. Bank lending is currently tight, and interest constitute a significant portion of operating costs. Some businesses are already facing cash flow problems. Rates rising further will cause cash flow shortages, a crisis that could lead to successive bankruptcies. For businesses that have been operating for a long time and are hoping to persevere, the government should also provide support.
However, one consultant says Hong Kong had experienced periods of high oil prices and high interest rates before, and the government should not intervene lightly.
Businesses need to adapt to the environment. Which industry can the government help? Every industry is complaining about its difficulties. If you're so sensitive to oil prices, your business model might be flawed. Faced with the same rent and manpower issues, why are others forecast profits while you're issuing profit warnings? You should examine the quality of your work.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan recently pointed out that Hong Kong's economy expanded strongly in the first quarter, growing by 5.9% year-on-year, accelerating from the 4% growth rate in the previous quarter. However, he anticipates that there are still concerns about the economy.
The US-Iran ceasefire agreement is not on solid ground. If the situation escalates again, it is expected to exacerbate volatility in global financial markets and weaken external demand, posing downside risks to the global and local economic outlook.
Edward Lam says it is precisely because the economic outlook is uncertain that the government should think about how to help SMEs.
I don't expect the government to subsidise again, but perhaps it can discuss with banks asking them not to tighten lending so quickly or to slow down the so-called loan recall. It would create a better environment, which would increase consumer spending. That would be better for the overall economy.
Kenny Sue emphasized that Hong Kong is a free market and the government should not interfere excessively.
Hong Kong's business environment is already the best in the world. I've never heard of an era claiming that we are living in the best of times and don't need anyone's help. Every era has its crisis. One generation talks about the energy crisis, another about the Cold War. When the economy stagnates or shrinks, these are the true tests of whether a business can survive.
The government stated that prices of imported food and other goods are currently at a controllable level. It will closely monitor the situation before considering whether to revise up its inflation forecasts.